Mazda is on a roll. They want to sell 600,000 units in North America by 2025. They are close to a record year at the end of 2023, but I don't think they're going to beat their top sales number, which is from back in 1986. That was the last time we saw Mazda hit their peak. They will be crushing that record in 2025 when they sell 1.6 million vehicles global and breaking sales records here in North America. In 2023, it was a big year for them. The introduction of the CX90, it's actually the most fun three-row crossover to drive in its segment. If you wanted something more fun to drive, that's a three-row. You probably have to go to like a BMW X7 or X5 or something like that to get a better experience. But CX90 is more fun to drive than a Grand Highlander. It's just not as practical, for example. But you have a nice plug-in hybrid on it. About half the sales of the CX90 are the plug-in hybrid with over 300 horsepower and about 30 miles of range. I've only tested the inline-six one, and they need to smooth out some of the powertrain and the mild hybrid system with it. But once they do, it's going to be hard to pass up because the design of the exterior and interior are absolutely fantastic on the CX90, as well as the quality, the build quality. Oh, love the CX90. It's going to crush it for them now and into the future. We also have a slight refresh, the ND3 Miata, right at the tail end of 2023. But that was mainly it for the Mazda lineup in 2023. But into 2024, right off the bat in January, we should be getting the reveal. It could be pushed into February. It's hard to say. Should be getting the reveal of the CX70. Which is a two-row slightly shrunken, hard to say, two-row slightly shrunken version of the CX90, rear-wheel drive platform, all-wheel drive standard, and it's going to have the plug-in hybrid as well as the inline-six. Guys, this is a mass-market, upscale vehicle that is going to be knocking on the doors of Lexus, knocking on the doors of Acura, Infiniti, because the CX90, in my opinion, already does that. And now we have a two-row that's going to be doing the same thing for the greater masses. In 2024, I'm praying to God we finally get the CX50 hybrid being produced at the Alabama plant with Toyota. I'll be using Toyota hybrid technology. So think of it as a RAV4 hybrid that looks like a CX50, but might not have the independent rear, like a CX5 does or a RAV4 does. So it'll still be awesome to have a new hybrid in the Mazda lineup other than the plug-in hybrids from the CX70 and 90. But get into 2025 already. The CX5 hopefully gets a redesign. It's already long in the tooth. The thing is, I just reviewed the CX5 the past few months. It is still pretty much better than any other crossover in its segment. It just needs a hybrid to fill out the hybrid market niche, and then it's guns blazing for the CX5. I love that vehicle. It handles really well. The turbo on it's great. The ergonomics and the spaciousness is fantastic for me. It's nice and compact. It doesn't feel quite as boaty. It's easier to park than the CX50. You have better visibility with the taller windows. I just love the CX5. It's one of my favorite crossovers out there. Actually, it probably is. It just needs that hybrid, and hopefully we get it in 2025. And it should also be using the same hybrid technology from the RAV4 hybrid. We could be seeing a new Mazda 3 sedan and hatchback in 2025 as well. The sales on it aren't great, so it'll be interesting to see what Mazda does with it. I hope they don't cancel it. I don't think they will, but it is due for a redesign around that time period. And maybe we see a hybrid, like a Corolla hybrid powertrain in it. More than likely, no Mazda, they want more performance, so maybe they use the Prius hybrid powertrain, the 2-liter, with almost 200 horse. Also, the CX50 could be getting that refresh in 2025. We could see the hybrid CX50 be pushed to 2025, so maybe it would debut with the hybrid. It's just hard to say, but CX50 refresh at the latest in 2025. Yeah, in 2025, like I said at the beginning, huge year for them. They're projecting record-breaking years in North America, in the United States, and potentially throughout the world as well. But they actually downrated their full global forecast from 1.8 to 1.6. in 2025. I think it's because of the uncertainty in China and the dwindling market for non-Chinese automakers in the Chinese market. But in 2026, redesign hopefully on the CX30. Love the CX30. Actually, I think I like the non-turbo version of it better because of the price as well as the heaviness in the turns and the nose heaviness of the CX30 turbo. Hopefully we get a redesign of it in 2026 where they take out all the plastic cladding on the side of the vehicle and the bottom of the vehicle that just cheapens the look of it. The rest of the vehicle feels very premium. CX90 could be getting a refresh as early as 2026 as well. Once they have the CX70 and 90, as well as their global variants, the 60 and 80 available in the market, in 2026, we could see the reintroduction of the Mazda 6 as a rear-wheel drive large platform sedan, inline six, as well as plug-in hybrid. It would be awesome to have the Mazda 6 back. When it was canceled, it was kind of like the CX5 of sedans. It was pretty much better than the rest of its competition, but it just didn't sell that great, unlike the CX5. It just didn't sell great in North America, and Mazda killed it. And hopefully we can get an even more premium Mazda 6 with rear-wheel drive, standard all-wheel drive available. Besides that, in 2026, we're going to see a big jump for Mazda, and their e-Mazda platform is set to debut in 2026 through 2028. So it's kind of like this phase 2 time period is what they call it. It is using Toyota's Arene electrified software that we'll first see in the RAV4 next year. But in 2026, Mazda is using 90% of the same technology on the software end and potentially the computer hardware end as the Toyota lineup. So that reduces cost for Mazda, but they're still putting it on their own bespoke platforms. So Mazda has 2 platforms coming out, the e-Mazda platform in 2026 or so, as well as a more flexible one that can have EV, hybrid, and fully gasoline setups. So you have 2 platforms coming out that will both be using Toyota's Arene software. They will be using 3 different battery suppliers, 2 of them which are kind of the same. So you have Panasonic, of course, the number 1 Japanese battery manufacturer. You have Prime Planet Energy and Solutions, which is Toyota's joint venture with Panasonic. And then you have Envision AESC Japan, based in Japan, owned by China, like a Chinese investment company, I believe. But Mazda's, not putting all their eggs in one basket with their battery supply. So you have Toyota's Prime Planet, you have Panasonic, and then Envision AESC. Now, Mazda wants to be, by 2030, be 25 to 40% electrified globally. They want to have 7 to 8 fully electric vehicles by 2030. That's impressive, right? Because their current lineup only has 7 to 8 vehicles, something like that. So that is going to be bizarre to see that many options for Mazda. Maybe even entering into new segments as well. Mazda has said that with their EVs. They could enter new segments. So maybe more sports car segments. It's hard to say. In 2027, we should get a fully electrified EV crossover on the e-Mazda platform, fully battery electric. And Mazda wants to be building those e-Mazda platform vehicles, the full battery electric platform vehicles, in North America by 2028 so they can finally qualify for the EV tax credit. But by that point in time, the EV tax credit ends, at least our current understanding of it, ends in 2030 before they revise it or just get rid of it altogether and get rid of EV tax credits. What am I most excited for? Probably the CX70, probably the CX50 hybrid as well, which is both in 2024. And then seeing the possible reintroduction of the Mazda 6 is what my heartstrings are tied to. Could we see an RX-9 or a return of a high-performance coupe from Mazda? Of course, because they teased it as a twin-rotor plug-in hybrid at the Japan Mobility Show. I think we'll see something like that come by the end of the decade, maybe 2026, 2027. It's just kind of hard to say. Of course, I'd be super excited for that as well. But also you in the comments on Mazda, all their technology, all their platform. What do you want from Mazda the most? And long live the Mazda 6.